Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your host,
Nico.
and Urban, and this is Shining Spotlight, the stream where we highlight creatives in the industry in order to inspire you guys. Today, we have a legend who's the total package. His work has been published in DC Comics, Boom Studios, Devil's Due, and more. He's the creator of Semantic Lace and also the hit webtoon Darbi, which has over 300,000 readers on webtoons. We cannot forget to mention that he's worked in animation as well. Today, we welcome the astonishing Sherard Jackson to the show. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
So, first off, of course, we have to ask you, when we look at, a lot of the work that you've done, like you look at even like, for example, even though it may be like kind of a blast to pass for you, like Semantic Lace, for example, or even web, a lot of the work that we see today with Darbi. I want to just kind of start just from the beginning. Where did this all begin for you in terms of creatively? What made you decide to get into comics?
Comics. It's something career-wise. It's something that I'd always wanted to do. It's like comics and animation is it's like something that I've wanted since I was like 6. And as far as like getting in it professionally, with the comics, my friends and I we self-published like in the late '90s. That's kind of how far back my career goes. And like when we got in, it was like the indie scene, the independent scene was really big. So like we self-published our own stuff through that. It was a book called Section 8, and from there, we just, I just did a couple like freelance projects here and there. And like of course, early 2000s, I get Semantic Lace got picked up through Image and Devil's Due, and from that point on, I was I'd say I was pretty much like a full time freelance comics and illustration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, um, I guess what I'm curious about is like,
hmm
for a lot of people out there, when it comes to doing comics, of course, they try to decide what route they're going to take.
Right.
So with you, you've kind of done both. You've done, obviously with Darby, you've been doing, webtoons, but then you've also done, like more of, I don't know if you would call it traditional, but like
Yeah.
like the standard, like print comics.
Oh yeah. That depends on what they're looking for. If you want to get into comics and you want to do do a solid comics career, I do recommend like hitting up the bigger publishers. Of course hitting up the like the independents, hitting up the bigger independents like your Image, Boom, Dynamite, and like just working, doing quality draftsmanship and putting and just uh, doing jobs and building up a body of work and building up an audience. That way, when you do your own creative thing, you do have a fan base ready to see what you have new. If you go my route, then it's gonna be a little bit harder row to hoe, but but you'll always be telling your own stories. It's like if you're always going to be doing independent work, then you're going to be doing your own thing, but you're also going to be supplementing that with other jobs, with other comic jobs, other graphic design and illustration jobs, which what I did, and to get to doing something like Darby, which that's webcomic based. The good thing about doing comics, especially web comics now, is there are just more avenues for opportunity. We just have like more companies out there, and you can even self publish as it is. You can do print on demand if you're doing like standard indie comics. So it's a matter of like figuring out what you want to do as far as your career goes, and picking a particular direction and understanding like the strengths and weaknesses of it.
Now, from what I've seen about you, you've worked with companies like DC and Antarctic Press. Uh, because you tell us a little bit more what it was like when you were working with companies as far as this process goes when it came to like scripting stuff out, editing, and what did that process look like just for those that that consider that option.
With Antarctic Press, when I was there, all their work was all it was creator owned. So like I did a book through there called Assembly, and also around the same time I did two how-to books. And as far as the editorial process went there, it was I do the work and get some feedback, get some if there's any corrections that need to be made, then let me know ahead of time. This is what needs to be changed. But had a lot of latitude there, and like when the work that I've done for like other companies like a DC or like Boom. When I did the work there, like for example with Boom, it did did two Cthulhu Tale stories, and that the editorial there was pretty, is a it was solid. It wasn't a lot of like, it wasn't interference or anything, and also with DC, like it's just maybe get one or two notes and then you just move forward and do the work. But yeah, it's like
Yeah.
uh, good experiences so far.
Okay.
Okay. So for anybody who, for example, just kind of want to circle this back a little bit more toward the beginning,
Yep.
because I just realized, as I'm thinking about it now, there may be some people out there as big as Darby is who haven't heard of Darby.
Oh,
So would you like, just mind kind of just giving like a brief, like, synopsis of what this action comedy is?
okay.
And I'll
Well,
throw an
it's
image on the screen too for everybody to
oh yeah.
see.
One of the happier images with blood. Yeah, it's like the gist of the story is Darby is a story of it's in the tagline, the story of a bloodthirsty baby T-Rex, uh and his family trying to survive a savage land. And it's over the course of a couple of seasons now. You see Darby and his family. You see them like grow, see them struggle together. You see a lot of the loved ones die over the course of the series, and it's about just the growth of this character of Darby, this T-Rex, trying to understand who he is, and trying to like take care of his family at the same time, like accepting that his family is going on a different path that he is. So yeah,
Okay.
it's like in over the course of right now I'm in season 4, and over the course of each season, the tone of the series kind of shifts as the character gets older. Like the first season, he's still, he and his family is still babies, so it's like it's really high energy, really action packed. Second season, he starts becoming like the pack leader, so it kind of like gets a little more serious. So like by seasons 3 and 4, it's like he's on this life and death adventure. So yeah, it's like if you want to see I used to joke like if you want to see dinosaurs like curse and chew each other up, then you will read this series. But now I just say if you just want to see like just a dinosaur adventure, and just like in a character going through like a soul searching journey, read Darby.
Of course. And I agree. One of the things, I'm also kind of curious too, so what I guess inspired you in terms of like the creative mold, with Darby, like specifically, like what are some of the inspirations
Yeah.
for it?
Oh, with Darby, a lot of the inspirations was like of course, so there's like with the action, there's a lot of manga and anime influence there. With the comedy, it is kind of a bit of the slapstick, bit of the gallows humor, and as far as like the tone of the story, I'm a of course, big fan of the epic stories, the Star Wars, of the Games of Thrones, and all. It's one of the like kind of squeeze that into Darby, and and also just over the course of the series, like it does make like a lot of pop culture references, a lot of personal references for me growing up as a kid, in involving a lot of things that I was interested in. Well, still interested in, like monsters, robots, sci-fi. It kind of like pulls from all that, and of course now kind of like currently it's there's a lot of supernatural elements in the series, so kind of pulling from like a lot of the horror aspect of what I like into that. So yeah, it's like pretty much like just it's like all over. It's like influences from all over the place, trying to like squeeze them into one spot.
I'm a little curious about a little more specifically with Darby, how you came up with some of the dynamics, I should say, like you focus specifically on the T-Rex, and from what
Right.
from like what your website even mentions is kind of the common concept is that everybody just pretty much just sees it as this ruthless, fearful, beast, not
Right.
really the underlying personality and life of it. I mean, could you explain that further, and where it really comes from? Because when I look at it, I I think it's an interesting take on, like, all right, the man, kind of like the man under the beast, or the human within the beast, or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it almost seems like some noble aspects there. So could you go ahead and expand on that?
Oh, before you do that, I want to say really
Yeah.
quickly, if you're just now joining us, if you're coming in, just make sure you guys go ahead and throw a thumbs up on this video. It really helps the video out, and also, make sure you guys subscribe if you guys like content like this. Anyway, continue.
Please and thank you.
Oh, absolutely. uh, I'm glad you mentioned it because you look in the animal kingdom. The predatory species is usually it's going to be the minority. There's going to be like smaller groups, and also when you think of what it what it does, being a carnivore, you immediately yeah you have the preconceived notion that it's doing it for a malicious intent, but it's not. It's got to survive. Like with the T-Rex, it's like it has to eat, it has to survive, and even in the series, the characters mentioned they scavenge more than they hunt because like it's like any predator that's usually what they're gonna do, and also it's not it's not done to the point where to where they're to where there's evil intent behind it. It's like it's just a necessary thing. So I just wanted to do a story and just show that 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 preconceived notions that you have about a particular, in this case, particular dinosaur, aren't necessarily the reality of the situation. So, and also I'm not too sure how far you got in the series, but like a lot of the enemies that they face are herbivores or like herd animals,
Yeah,
and that's just because it's like they're have the T Rexes that are in a small group. They're trying to survive, and they're outnumbered by other species that hate them. you know, and they're always trying to find ways to get rid of them, just because they exist. And I just wanted to play on that and just kind of like show, just have protagonists that are usually depicted as the enemy in media, and just show that that there is a nobility to it, that there is a story that deserves to be told, from a species that we think is a villain, but usually it's not.
yeah. I mean, even open up chapter one where everything hates you. It's like that's what volumes. They were just
Yeah.
brought into the world, and it's like you're ready from the get go. How do you just deal with that?
Exactly. It's like, yeah, it's like you're born into a world where like everything is just like just sees you as an enemy and is just always on attack. So what is so like with Darby? What does he do? He when he's younger he lashes out. He lashes out, and he and his siblings they are constantly on the defense. So as they get older, as they start understanding like how the world around them works, they begin to like they begin to see like that the answers to solving a problem isn't always like using their teeth and their claws. It's like it starts becoming like using their intellect.
Was
So
this was this based on any like real world similar? Was this does this symbolize any real world like aspects? Because I saw a lot of symbolisms personally. I want to clarify it. What you have in
Well,
mind when you do all this in there?
well, I will say like I've always been a big believer that with any entertainment, you're gonna you're gonna get out a lot of it, uh, whatever you bring to it. If if you see something in the in just the metaphor and the narrative of the story, if it feels political to you, then you're gonna get a bit of political message from it. Or if we see something where it's like a you see something like a in this case where you see something that's symbolic of like certain cultures or certain communities, then then that makes sense for that narrative. And and I personally more interested in what the reader gets out of the narrative. It's like and how they relate to the stories and to the characters.
so how important to you that is it? Like when you mentioned the whole thing with the reader, what they get out of it, right?
Right.
So one of the things that I feel like creatively, a lot of creatives kind of debate about is like the level that, like
Mhm.
how important is the fan's opinion when it comes down to creating a work? I
Oh,
think that's like a constant debate. Like if I'm
oh,
trying to create
yeah.
something, like, if a bunch of fans are like, I really don't like this. Is that something that you weigh in your head, or you're just like, nah, it doesn't really matter to me?
No, well, I do weigh it in my head, but at the same time, I can't let it change the direction of the story. It's like it's like a, it's one of those things where if you have a story and you constantly go in the direction that the fans or that the audience wants, then it's not your story. You're not telling them your story. You're telling their story. So the thing is like you don't go in to just always give your audience exactly what they want. Storytelling wise, you give them what they need. You give them you 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 give them like characters, you give them metaphor, and at times you gotta challenge their ideas of what this story and what this character is all about. That's that's the only way to tell like a genuine, honest tale.
But I mean, you could have went in a completely different direction.
Oh,
I
true.
know that the story could have ended in this way. You foreshadowed all these other things. Why did you do it that way? I don't understand. It
Yeah.
was supposed to end with Darth Vader winning and taking
Yeah.
out, Luke.
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on
Exactly.
here?
Or suppose it and it was Star Killer taking down yeah, exactly. It's like exactly. It's like it's kind of funny because like the thing with that metaphor, it's like like you have in that series particularly, you have like one movie that like subverts all expectations, right? And that's a movie that everyone hates. But like 10 years later, or 20 years from now, the new audience will probably say like, oh, that's the best one because it didn't go in the direction that we expected. So like, I I think it's more. I think it's for me. It's more interesting to do that. Like for example, like last season three, had a particular story arc that it was. If you'd read it, you'd say, okay, this is going to end in an absolute bloodbath. These characters are gonna like kill each other, blah. Yeah, but like the way it ends is like it's a semi peaceful resolution, and it's like I can kind of guess like a lot of the audience are probably like, wow, that was unexpected. And of course, the other half are probably like, oh, I didn't like it because it didn't end in that bloody death that was promised. But going forward in the story now, they'll see, they'll probably see like why it had to end that way, and how it's better because it did, or at least it makes more sense to them that it did it that way. So yeah, it's like it's like a, if you're doing like a basic action story, then yeah, by all means, like follow the beats. But if you're doing like your own personal story, you gotta adhere to it. You gotta go in the direction that always scares you, and you gotta go in the direction that people may openly disagree with.
Like when you said got the direction that always scares you. That's like the
Yeah,
the key
I
thing.
mean,
Okay.
exactly. It's like because it's like it's like a story in art. It's not always going to be safe. It's not, because if it is, then it's not really fulfilling. It's not really. You have to ask yourself, like, if you're playing along the safe lines, then what are you really saying here? But if you challenge yourself creatively, then you have to say, okay, this is what I'm saying here, and like I want to see, you know who's gonna listen, who's gonna agree, who's gonna disagree with it. But whatever it is, that they're gonna get an experience out of it.
So that actually brings up a few things I actually want to ask you. So
Mhm.
there are, some people who would consider you to be a part of, early, like original English language manga. I don't want to put you in a category if you don't consider yourself to be. I even, so I want to ask you, do you consider
Oh,
yourself to be?
I like that category.
Okay. Okay.
It's like,
I'm
well, the thing is, it's like just career wise, it always seems like that I'm either like a step ahead, but not in it, or like a little bit behind, where it's like for example, like in early 2000s, when manga was really taking off, when it was really just excelling, like when Viz and Tokyo Pop were like all over the place. A lot of the stuff that I was doing, like special, like assembly, I was going for more of like a darker, like a darker storytelling. There's nothing really cute about it, and of course now, like manga's like is really big again. Manga and anime is really big again, and like where Darby is in the middle of that, it's like it's not really manga. I mean, storytelling wise, it's inspired by it, but it's kind of like its own look and its own feel, where it's like where it's like that's a good thing, where it stands out, but it's not necessarily in any of those categories. So it's like, huh. So it's like, what do I do here? Do I just maybe do it just like, I guess it's good to be in a category of one, or like a category of like a handful, you know. But like a early early English manga, especially like a Semantic Lace, it's a definitely it's I can yeah, I'm cool with that.
okay. Okay. So in other words, that means you're basically one of the first pioneers, of what we all do now. You're, OEL 1.0, essentially.
That's cool.
You know.
Yeah.
So when you look at a lot of like, because I mean, do you look at a lot of like manga that comes out nowadays, like a lot of where you have a lot of creators, like OEL creators, if you will, like some of the works they come out, like if so, like what do you
Oh
think
yeah.
about some of the current day stuff that comes out from OEL creators today?
Um,
Honest opinion.
let's see. Honestly, it's like uh, it- I'd say, I don't know, a lot. It's a lot of the a lot just a lot of the line work. It's really clean. It's really sharp. It's really clean. The colors are nice and bright. Like me, when I got into manga and anime, it's like back in the like late '80s, early '90s. It's like the stuff that was out back then was like like Katsuro Otomo, like Shiro, Kido Shiro. It's all all these guys, these really solid technical draftsmen, and a lot of their line work was really sharp, really edgy and everything. And so I'm used to the older, what the kids call, I guess they call it vintage now. I'm used to a lot of the vintage manga. Like with the newer stuff, it's like I'm just really particular about it.
Hmm.
So like it's like and like I will say, and what I really like is like a lot of the newer stuff. They make good use of 3D elements. Like you see like you see like the you know 3D full 3D backgrounds, or like they incorporate like 3D models and everything for like posing. So it's like it makes great use of the technical resources that are there.
So when we had I'm not sure if you're familiar with Queenie Chan. We had
Mm.
Queenie Chan on earlier on in the season,
Oh, cool.
and one of the things that we talked about, as it relates to original English language manga, is of course you have a lot of it, like on webtoons, but
Yeah.
a lot of people have the aren't as captivating with a lot of their stories. It's like in a way, it's almost like you have a lot of these fan story, or I'm not gonna say fan stories, but basically you have a lot of people trying to tell a story, but they aren't really able to engage you, for very long with the story, because it
Right.
ends up going into kind of like a fan dilemma. Now, these aren't her exact words. So I want to make sure I make that clear. I'm paraphrasing based on the conversation, but what I want to know from you is, how do you feel about a lot of the storytelling that takes place in today's English language manga, aside from just like the art?
Yeah.
Do you think that anybody's actually saying anything, or do you think there's too, like, maybe oversaturation of
Mm. Mm. I'd say this kind of goes back into what we were saying about like about playing it safe storytelling wise, because just what I've noticed is like a lot of the creators, they're a lot of the work is targeting a younger audience, say like say like between like 13 and 16. They're targeting a teen audience. So a lot of the way it's written is with that mindset. It's like it's there. It's get just like a lot of like simple plots, simple ideas. Get this across, and just and just and it's not really, you know, as far as like the level of depth of storytelling, that's that's it's not for me, not really for me to say like with the each individual creator, but like I will say there's been like there's been probably like a handful like just really solidly written like original language mangas recently that I've read. You know, and of course a lot of the rest are like, it's just to me it feels like it's aimed at a younger audience, and
okay.
with those sensibilities.
So a lot of shonen.
Yeah.
The shonen telling.
Oh, oh yeah.
So really quick, before we get into the second half of this, I do want to go ahead and make a quick announcement for anybody who's interested in watching or listening to a podcast. We have the Honeycomb Hideout. If you think of Howard Stern for Geeks is the best way I can describe this show. It's something I definitely recommend a lot of you guys check out. If you like hearing discussions that don't just talk about typical nerd shit, but basically get into, the nitty gritty of, even industry topics, what's, not just what's hot, but what's basically, talking about all the controversial things, you would think you're going to want to check out the Honeycomb Hideout. It's a good show. I'm going to put a link down in the description. Make sure you follow it. You should also be able to find it, I believe, on Apple Podcasts as well. And there's a few other places, but it's definitely on Spotify. Also, let's get to the comments. There's a few comments that came through.
Ooh, cool.
From Che Baker. What's up, team? Hey, what's up, Che?
What's up?
Imaginos TV. You my brother. What's up, Sherard?
What's up, man?
It's your brother, Dudley. And then Jeff Lilly. Sherard, it's been years, man. Still got and love my copy of Assembly.
Oh, cool. Hey.
Imaginos TV. I agree with Jeff wholeheartedly. I agree. Give them what they need. I think that was in a reference to earlier. And then we have agreed again. Challenge yourself. Okay, so that's the comments that we had come through so far.
Good.
And let's get to the next part of this, shall we?
Ooh,
All right.
Let's do it.
So, actually, continuing on from what was said about ending off with a lot of the narrative with the stories nowadays, and as it pertains to the OEO community, seem to be more shown and directed. I want to touch back on something earlier than that when we briefly touched on how the fans, how you're as a creator of the story, you don't really want to have the fans kind of direct it.
Right.
One of the things that was kind of brought up was that a lot of the stories nowadays, or at least some of the popular stories that come from today's manga on the East, seem to start like kind of listen to the audience or the fans a bit, and the fans almost seem like they're entitled here in the West, especially in the OEO community, where they seem to think it needs to go in a certain direction. You got certain creators like Kubo not having it, whereas you have some creators, especially in the East, kind of things, kind of just being laid out. I mean, what do you think of this? With the fan base, why, what do you think of it? Why do you think we got here?
See, I got my theories, and I think it's kind of okay. It's kind of like you see like a lot of movie and game reviews, just from a lot of online contributors, and it's like you look at the reviews, you look at the ones that get the most attention, you look at the ones that are really hyperbolic about this one, and it's just like those are the loudest voices, but I personally don't think that those are the most accurate voices. It's like everyone now has a platform to say like, oh, this is my review of whatever, this is what I think the story should be, this is, and it's like, and it's just like I don't, it's like that's nice, that's your opinion, that's your take on it, but that's not the work. I mean, the work is whatever this creator is putting into it, and it's like, and for me, it's like if you're gonna expect or even demand that a creator story goes in a certain direction, then my answer to that is always like you should if you feel that strongly about it, you should definitely write your own story. Like write your own, you make your own endeavor and put it out there, and then you'll see that, like, the whatever gripes or whatever direction we want for anyone else's story, they're going to want for yours. I mean, that's just the nature. That's just how it goes. But also, it's just like, yeah, it's like I'm always about like going in the direction it needs to go, and not just where everyone is saying that they want it to go. And like case in point, this was season 2. This is in the season 2. The character Darbi, like there's a moment where tragedy strikes, and there's a moment where where the Darbi character he physically changes, physically changes. You get like a superpower basically,
Yeah.
and and it kind of like changes the whole dynamic of the series on that turn. And and I was reading the comments, and we had had a lot of people saying, oh, this is oh, I don't like this, this is not what I was expecting in my series about dinosaurs. I'm never reading it again. It's like at the time, it's like half of me was like, oh no, I lost a fan there. The other half was like, oh, okay, bye, because this is where it's going. It's like like it. It's like if you gotta go, I understand, but I do welcome you to stick around so you can see where the rest of it's going. You might like it more than what you wanted. you know. So yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
could you
But
give
I
us?
will say like if a creator feels need to like always like like please the fans, then that's their creative choice. But that's not my that's not my creative choice.
Could you give us one of your theories, insight on one of your theories as to how we got here with the fans, getting let's say a little outrageous with why they feel they just have the
Mm.
power to just change a narrative. Because I would assume this is not something really new per se. I mean, you see
Oh
some
yeah.
entertainment or something. I mean, generally, I would think people just by nature, just think like, oh, this could have been better this way. Everybody has a personal opinion, but how is
Yeah.
it to where it's so extreme in it here with manga in particular, where you do have certain creators, kind of being like, all right, I'll do it. Why are the fans like this?
Um, because of access, because just because of just because like a broader community, uh, and also just like just just fans discuss, readers and fans discussing amongst themselves like what they're passionate about with a particular story, and pretty much I, okay, I don't want to say entitled because that's not really fair. I'll say that they're passionate about it, that they're passionate about their opinions and what they see is in this particular story that makes it good and what they believe it needs to happen in it. And and it's just again, everyone now, they have a voice, they have an outlet for it, where like before, for example, let's say in the 60s, right? We all know about like classic Star Trek, how originally it was canceled after season two, then there was a writing campaign that got a third season. That was in the 60s, but that was still fans making their voices heard. It just, of course, just back then it just took tons more effort. Now it's like you can make your voice heard instantaneously, directly to the people creating the
People go on
product.
Twitter.
Right. Just saying like this is what needs to happen because this is what we demand. And it's like it's like recently that there's been a couple movies that have come out because of because of like fans getting involved and saying this is what we want and this is the direction we want to go. And it's like I mean, the results out of that is, you know, it's feel like the end result was good in the sense of like, yeah, yeah, it worked, but it's bad in the sense of the entertainment entity just like submitting to it. Again, it's like if you give everyone exactly what they want, it's like might be happy for a brief moment, but I just don't believe it's satisfying. And it's like and again, everyone's welcome to their informed opinion. Everyone's welcome to say like this is where it needs to go. but I just don't believe that that really needs to be adhered to.
So, with the format being different for webtoons, as opposed to doing a traditional comic, usually, webtoons, the pages are more longer, it's
Yeah.
kind of more akin to like manhwa. What is typically the process with that? And what, like, for you, when you're working on Darby, and like, what is the amount of hours that actually go into doing a page for Darby?
Oh man, it's it's a lot. It's like as far as the work goes, it's a good solid work week. Just because for me, like what I do, it's like I write it, like I do I draw it, color it. I have a coloring assistants here and there, but do everything for it, and it's like it has to be done in it's a weekly series, so it has to be done on within 6 days or less, and yeah, it's just like I try to keep I when I'm working on it, I try to keep it at a at a reasonable panel count. It like and also reasonable panel count, and also just a reasonable size, so people get a good solid story out of it. So yeah, it's yeah, well, a lot of work. That's what I can say. Um, and also just like just the work, just what's involved in it, as far as like how the so especially in that format. What I found in with this particular the vertical scrolling format is you can really play with timing, you can play with pacing on it. So so like whereas opposed to just like a paging panel, and just turning a page. It's like you can literally. I have a lot of times I just have like long tableaus of panels that represents like just a moment in time, just spaced out over however many segments. And yeah, it's like, and when I first started uh, doing this format, it took a while to really understand what what it was really capable of. Just because I was so used to the traditional page and panel format, once I understood that you can really just play with the space of it. You can really just like just use the empty spaces in between the panels as as a storytelling element in and of itself. Then I started like then I started just really enjoying it, and just really like it just really being kind of free to to just to just do whatever type of story that I want to do, and just like and just play around with ways that I couldn't necessarily do with with traditional comics.
It almost seems like an evolution of comics in a way, like when you think about it,
Yeah.
like the next big step, in a different
Oh yeah.
sense,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, for sure.
just
It's like a because I remember I watched the TED talk with Scott McCloud like years back, and he was saying how with comics it's each panel is like it's like a what is it? It's like a screen, or like a moment, it's a moment in time, where like a comic on a computer, it's not a page, it's a window. It's a window into this new world. It's a window into this environment, and wherever that window's positioned, then you're seeing like new elements of that environment. So yeah, it's like I try to play with it like that.
okay. So I guess what I'm curious
Mhm.
about is like with you doing Darby, as a webtoon, do you find it more of a is it more beneficial, do you think, for more creatives to go in that webtoon category? If
Mm.
let's say they already have a work that's a print, let's say that they go to conventions, they put
Mm.
out their work, should they, do you think, move over to webtoons and kind of take their following there and kind of just stop doing print?
Mm.
Or how do you feel about that?
Oh. Well, I wouldn't say stop doing print. I'd say take it over because there's really nothing to lose. It's if it's already, especially if it's already done in one particular format, you can use it in this new format. And not only would you be bringing over your excuse me, your already established audience, but you have a potential to grow your audience in another direction. Because you have those you have the fan base that's primarily a webcomic fan base. Okay, they see your work. Oh, great. They discover that you also have a print side. No, that's something that that they would be interested in checking out. And also, like the fans of your traditional work, like seeing you on this new platform, that could like that could you know get them excited about checking out your new work on that, and also checking out other things on this new platform. So so for me, it's a win-win.
Fair enough. I'm as we get close to pretty much the end of the show here, I there's obviously some popular questions we have with every episode, but before we kind of roll into them, I am curious, what what would you want to advise to anybody trying to get into well, let's separate the two at first.
Mhm.
Somebody who's trying to get into doing sequential works, your
Okay.
comics and or OEO manga work, what would you advise for them as far as when they're trying to work with a legitimate company per se, as far as trying to pursue that career path versus
Mm,
well, I'll get to that one after you have to know.
okay. As far as like you mean like pursuing like a traditional manga path? Excuse me.
Well,
I would say,
any sequential works here in the West.
oh,
They say if
oh,
they want to go comics or OEO manga work, or if there is some in between new narrative,
mm,
uh, almost similar to how you depicted it. If they just ended up going on a unique route. Uh, what would you suggest? What would you advise for them as far as trying to work with any of the companies that are popular here in the West
okay.
for sequential works?
I'd say get you do the work, get it out there, and like if they're just getting started, the best avenue is going to be getting online, just because there there's little to no gatekeepers there. You can publish your work and say, well, this is the story that I have here. This is what I've been working on, and it can be a webcomic format. It could be a traditional format. But again, that's you're building a portfolio. You're showing that, hey, I can tell a story. Hey, I'm a good draftsman. I'm a good artist, and this is what I have to offer. And of course, once it comes time to to present your work, you can say, well, this is my portfolio, and also this is the series that I've been working on. This is the fan base that I've built up over X amount of time. So yeah, it's like a so the goal is to get the work seen, and I think the best way right now to do that is to get it online, and then of course, you know, then once you have that fan base, then you can self-publish if you need to, and then you can you know, go look for more work.
Now, on the flip side, what would you advise to somebody who they're like, look, I'm not really too good at working with the groups or whatnot. Slash, when I try to work with the people, it was just problem after problem. I want to go freelance all the way, and if somebody just want to book a deal with me, we just write off the contract and they just take it from there. But I
Oh
ain't trying
man,
to work with any companies. What do you advise to somebody like that?
man, that's almost my career path. uh, in that case, yeah, that's gonna be a little bit harder road to travel. But I will say it's worth it in sense of of telling your own stories the exact way you want them to be told. The in like a but doing that is going to require you to like. I mean, it's going to require you to grow as a storyteller, and as an artist, and to also like you know when the highs and lows come, to like be able to like manage them better. But yeah, it's like both paths are valid. It's just again that goes into the individual as a creator deciding like what they want to do. If they just want a career in comics and manga, then yeah, by all means, like learn how to be an awesome creator and work with the team. But work with the team. That's a good way to like it's a good way to get your work out there. It's a good way to like to get more work. But if you're gonna do the whole lone wolf route, then yeah, it might take a little bit longer to get there, but it'll be a little more satisfactory when you do get there because you'll have grown, you'll hit all those little stumbling blocks, and like gotten past that, and be a little bit stronger on the other end.
All right. So one of the popular questions of the show is
Hold on.
we'll do
Okay.
this one right before the final one.
All right,
All right.
so I want to say something. One of the things that Mark Dudley, our older homie, I have to make sure I say that first, but we also say, he's our teacher too. So, hey, I gave it both, Mark. I'm just saying that, right now. But in any case, he always talks about how dynamic, your action is. And when I'm looking in Semantic Lace, it does have some of the best action that I've seen too. That's one of the things that he always talks about. So I guess what I want to ask you about, I don't know if the audience can really see kind of what's looking at. You might have to pause it to see, but how did you get your action to the point where it's on the level of like the Raid, but for comics?
Oh man. Oh yeah, that's for me, especially back then. That was like I was a big action movie fan. Big. It was like huge like action sci-fi fan. So like so a lot of references that I was pulling from a lot from movies. A lot from like lot from like especially back then like a lot of crazy Hong Kong cinema, like just a lot of like a lot of just lot of just like sci-fi stuff, and yeah, man, it's just but you got to pull from multiple sources, not just from comics, from movies, from like entertainment, from like and also like it's like with Lace especially, I was referencing a lot of like real world like military gear and like and just like also just a lot of real world like combat scenarios, just to get it like you know I wouldn't say accurate, but just to get it just to get it dynamic. So yeah, like pull from lots of sources, and also when you're doing that, just make sure that it's readable, that there's clarity as far as like what's happening there. It's like of course the whole like 180, what was it, the 180 rule. It's like looking if you're looking one way, make sure your character's not looking the other way. And the panel it's gotta be easily read.
So if I'm someone who I'm like, okay, I want to be able to pull influences, but I don't know how to really use my influences without being a carbon copy of them, like what do you suggest? Because I know there's somebody asking that question right now.
All the car. Um, well, I don't know. It's like, I mean, uh, the thing about being a copy of someone is like it's like understanding like whoever you're referencing is understanding like who their influences are. So that might be in the it might be a better way of like understanding your own work creatively if you understand like the people that influenced you, how they got there, what was their story, and a lot of times you realize that like the way they work is because of this is the work that they saw, this is what it meant to them, and so like from there they pull from their own experiences. So the key is going to be like you can pay homage to someone's work, that's fine. You can reference it like occasion, but also just like you have to put a lot of yourself into it to really make it your own.
Okay. All right. Let's get into the final questions.
Oh,
Nico.
all right.
So one of the things we like to look into is kind of how competitive the market is right now. We'd like to know who in particular would you have considered or currently consider to be, let's say, your rival in the industry. If we were to make it to, where, let's say, the geeks, and as far as our fandom stories go, a lot of us like a good rival in the series. Who would you consider your rival as you climbed in the industry, or maybe even currently?
Currently, always joke that currently it'd be the creator of Lore Olympus, just because it's the webtoon comic is the most popular one right now. Just because it's like I'd kill for Darbi to have those numbers.
Lore Olympus.
Yeah, I could kill for that fan base. And like yeah, it's like that, and also just there's so many, I don't know, just so many, so many like just really talented younger artists that like you know I've been kind of bad as like not really keeping up as much, but I see their work and I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could draw like that. I wish I could, you know, I wish I could like tell a story like that. But like but at the same time I'm like, you know what, I I, I, I do my own thing, and that's got to be you know that's got to be enough. That's got to be enough for me. But like but seeing all the talent out there, it does you know it does push me to like work harder and to improve just to keep up. Yeah, but yeah like as far as rivals, like any of the top webcomic guys and girls, all of them.
You guys heard it here.
There it is. All right. Before we get to the final question tonight, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, those are unique pronouns out there. Please be sure to like, subscribe, to the content you like to see. You like this this type of format, this medium of questions. Be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe, and just see more of it. And as we dive more into the stuff, and even further evolve the channel in the later seasons to come. Go ahead and take us away.
Okay. All right. So one thing, everyone they have an idea of what they see in their mind. They know, kind of what they want for their future. You as a pioneer, you pioneered this industry. You paved the way for the rest of us. You've shown, your works time and time again. You've amassed a fandom. For you, the great, astonishing Sherard Jackson, what do you have as your end game? What do you see what do you want for yourself when you're all the way at the very end of your career, your last days?
Oh man,
how do you want to look at it?
Let me see. Well, see, for my last days, I want to avoid a retirement home. I'm just kidding. But seriously, just like career wise, I just want to know is like just going out, when it's time to go, that that I did something that not just mattered but was was beneficial, that it got people through their day, or some work that influenced them to be to be creative in their own right, just to be a positive influence. I mean outside of outside of like money and and whatever else. And outside of fame, outside of that, it's just knowing that the work that you did, even if just one person read it, that it provided something for them. You know, to me, that's why I do it. That's why I get up in the morning and say, you know, even if I'm not feeling it, that there's someone out there that's open to reading this crazy thing that I'm working on, and that just makes it worth it when I go to sleep at night.
Okay, that's that. I like that answer. You know, not that it matters if I liked it or not, but I think that was a good answer. You know, well, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, like Nico like to say, right now we're posting the webtoon for Darbi in the chat. You know, and a link will be there too as well. If you're looking at this on Spotify, you'll see a link there as well. Once this goes up, make sure you guys follow Darbi on Webtoons. You know, if you're not following it already. But before we get into any other announcements to wrap this up, I do want to give the floor to you, Sherard, to go ahead and make any announcements that you want to make.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram, on the TikTok, on the Twitters. If you go to my Instagram, my handle is Sherard UR. That's my name. It's SHERARDYOUARE. That'll take you directly to my Instagram, and from there in my bio, it has links to all my other stuff, you know, Darbi and non-Darbi related. Through there, you can find the Darbi Discord. Yeah, we got a great community on Discord there, and also the Darbi Patreon. Even some Darbi merch if you game for that. And on Twitter, same handle, Sherard UR, and also Darbi Adventures. Same with the TikTok. You know, so yeah, follow me online.
Okay. And you know, again, we appreciate you coming on today. Really quick, guys, you know, before you leave, you know, throw a like up. Also, we want to announce that Killbox will be coming soon. So, you know, be on the lookout for more updates, you know, on Killbox, the hip hop battle rap manga series coming soon. So make sure you guys continue to follow us as we continue to work on that story. You know, we throw our updates for you guys, and the showcase that we have coming soon with a lot of other titles within Shining Otaku. In 2 weeks, of course, we will be doing another Shining Spotlight episode. So we are getting closer and closer to the end of this season. This is episode 8 of Shining Spotlight, which means there are 4 more episodes left within this season of Shining Spotlight, of course. There will be a discussion video coming up soon as well, where we have some of our previous guests. So you'll want to make sure you check that out as well. And we still do have that Osamu Tezuka video coming up for you guys very soon. So we do apologize for the delay on that. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. Make sure that you follow Sherard on all of his pages, you know, every single last one of them, because I know you guys probably are on half of these platforms. So don't say you don't know, you know, you can follow them there. And again, throw us a like. If you're on Facebook, throw us a heart. That's always the better option. If you're on Twitch watching us, I don't keep up with Twitch, but Nico does, so he knows what to tell you, you know, what to press on there. And I guess he's going to leave me in an awkward moment of silence, but that's okay. You guys, make sure that you guys have a great week.
Retweet, and yeah, leave it there.
We will see you guys later. We'll see you in 2 weeks on the next Shining Spotlight episode. It's going to be a good episode, guys. Something a little bit different, too. So make sure you guys stick around for that. But thank you again, Sherard, for joining us this week. You know, thank you for imparting and knowledge on us, you know, as a pioneer of OEL and just a comic creator in general. We're looking forward to everything else that comes up new. But we will see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.
Y'all later.